What's going on, guys? Tower number 9 here. This is going to be a Flesh and Blood TCG video. This is not a live stream. This is pre-recorded. And this is going to be me discussing a interesting little thing here from Tales of Aria with respect to how it might impact the meta for one of the older heroes that's already been being played. So Tales of Aria has a bunch of new characters. I was streaming recently some test games that people have been playing. I've had a few streams where people have been playing Lexi, a new Elemental Ranger hero from the set. There's also a new Elemental Guardian from the set, and there's a new Elemental Runeblade from the set. But this set isn't just cards that are going to be for these new heroes. There are also some cards in the set that could benefit the older heroes as well. And because one of the heroes in this set is a Runeblade, we may see some cards that benefit Chane. So for those who might not be as familiar, Chane is currently probably the best hero in the game. So his ability is you can create a Soul Shackle token to give your next Runeblade or Shadow action this turn Go Again. That ability itself has Go Again. And this is essentially just allowing you to play out more stuff. Then you're going to be making this token, the Soul Shackle, which is at the beginning of your action phase, banish the top card of your deck. And the Soul Shackle, this seems like it would be a downside, but the thing to note about Chane is that he has a lot of cards that can be played from the Banish Zone. So even though this is milling you, it's also giving you card advantage in a sense, because some of those cards that you mill are going to be cards that you're able to play even though they were banished. And so even though this seems like a downside, Chane is essentially the cost that he's paying of making the Soul Shackle for his ability, the cost ends up often being to his advantage as well. And as a result, he's a very aggressive deck, very powerful. He can go really wide, and it becomes very dangerous for opponents. I mentioned earlier he is perhaps the best hero in the game right now. I think he's a top-tier character in Blitz, but the really impressive thing has been his performance in Classic Constructed. In the recent Road to Nationals season, Chane was the top-performing character in terms of the overall world meta. He was the most popular character. He also won the most events of any character, and I believe had the most top 8s of any character as well. And, you might say, well, he's the most popular. Of course he's winning the most events. But I've taken a look at the data there, and it turns out that Chane is actually winning significantly more events than you would expect just based on the number of people playing him. Both his top 8 rate and his overall event win rate are significantly higher than the percentage of people that are playing him. So he's a pretty powerful character. And when I say significantly higher, I'm not talking, I don't know about formal scientific significance or statistical significance. I'm pretty sure he would be, but I haven't done anything super formal. It's just you look at the numbers and the percentages are significantly higher. It should be interesting, but I think that the data at this point suggests Chane is the strongest character. At least for Classic Constructed. In Blitz, I think the meta is a little... in Blitz, I think there's other characters that are kind of on the same tier. But anyway, we're going to move on from that and discuss this new weapon and why I think it's so good. So right now, the Chane builds tend to run Nebula Blade. This is a pretty good weapon. So by default, it's actually pretty bad. It's 2 energy for an attack at base strength 1. If it hits, you do get a Rune Chant token. Rune Chant token is when you play an attack action card or attack with a weapon, destroy Rune Chant and deal 1 arcane damage to target opposing hero. So Rune Chant tokens are nice to have, but they're nothing incredible, They often just get that extra 1 damage sneaking in. But that does mean the Nebula Blade, if the opponent does let it hit them, it might actually end up being more of a hit for 5 instead of a hit for 4, because you do get that Rune Chant that can then go and deal 1 damage on a future attack, maybe set up some effects also. On the other hand, there's some situations where the opponent is going to have some spare pitch for defending arcane stuff anyway, so they're like, oh, the Nebula Blade is going to give them a Rune Chant, what of it? I'm just going to block that. So, it's not a super amazing on hit, but it's still a significant one. And 2 for 4 is already good, so 2 for 4 with a decently good on hit is very strong. You have to have played a non-attack action to get the +3 that makes it a 2 for 4. By default, it's just the 2 for strength 1, which is not so good. But because Chane is often playing non-attack actions, this does end up often being 2 for 4 with an on-hit, which is very strong, and we've seen this weapon used to pretty good effect. However, I think this weapon's going to get dropped. In fact, let's pick it up and throw it to the side here on Tabletop Simulator, because there's a new kid on the block. I'm going to pick it up. And there we go. Pick it up and off to the side, because here we have the Duskblade. I think this weapon is going to replace Nebula Blade in a lot of Chane decks, and I'll tell you why. So this is a scaling weapon, similar to Dorinthia's Dawnblade, which is kind of an obvious parallel to in art, name, and game mechanics. Once per turn action, attack for 1 energy. Whenever you attack with Duskblade, if you've played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, put a +1 counter on Duskblade. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, remove all +1 counters from Duskblade. Strength 2 base, but you get the +1 counter before you, like at the start of the attack instead of at the end of the attack. So players familiar with Dorinthia's Dawnblade, that weapon can get a +1 counter as well, but it gets it after the second hit. And because it's afterwards, the +1 that you get doesn't apply to that hit. With this card, if you fulfilled the condition, you get the +1 counter when you make that attack. And that means that it's coming in for strength 3 on its first attack if you have played an attack action card and a non-attack action card that turn. Now the downside, of course, is that you're going to lose your progress if you haven't played that, but I don't think that's going to prove catastrophic. Let's do some gameplay. Let's do some gameplay examples so I can show you what I mean. So I'm going to drop a hand here. Let's say this is the first turn. I'm playing Chane. So we'll lead off with a Seeds of Agony. This is a non-attack action card. This is one of those cards I was talking about earlier that can be played from the Banish Zone. In order to kind of get things set up and get those soul shackles working for you instead of against you. In this case, it's just deal 1 arcane damage. The next attack action card with cost 1 or less you play this turn gains deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. Then we're going to throw out a Bounding Demagon, or then we'll use Chane's ability. We'll do that first. Grab a die there. Sorry for the camera. So we'll use Chane's ability here, making that Soul Shackle to give the next Runeblade or Shadow action this turn go again. Play the Bounding Demagon. This card gets a bonus if you have played it from the Banish Zone and you've played a non-attack action card this turn. I haven't, so it's just coming in for 3. Though it is 3 plus the 1 arcane damage from the Seeds, plus the go again from Chane. So this is actually 3. It's more like 4 damage, and I will be able to do something afterwards. Then, let's say they block it or don't block it. It doesn't really matter at this point. We're saying it's the first turn, so good chance of them blocking. I'll then pitch and swing the Duskblade for another 3. And I'll get that +1 counter. Then we're going to arsenal this copy of Art of War, setting up for the future. So then, let's say it's the next turn. Drawing up a new hand of 4 cards. Mill 1 card from the top of the deck. Okay, so once again, this is a pretty good hand. I'll show you... there's a lot of stuff that I can do with it. I have an Art of War in Arsenal. I have various stuff. Let's go for a more simpler line of play since this is just a demonstration video. I'm going to play this Shadow from the Banish Zone, so once again making use of that Soul Shackle. As an additional cost to play this, I can banish a card with Blood Debt from my hand. If I do, it gains go again. So I'm going to banish this red Seeds of Agony that I have in the hand. Same card as previous, though this is the red instead of the blue version. So it's going to be playable from the Banish Zone, and I can, the next attack action card with cost 2 or less I play this turn gains deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So then I'll play that from the Banish Zone after this 2 attack with go again resolves. Then I'll use Chane's ability. Then I'm going to go ahead and pitch for another Duskblade swing. This one gets +1 as well because I have played a attack action card and a non-attack action card. So now I'm swinging this for strength 4. Strength 4 with go again from Chane's ability. Then we'll follow that one up with E-Strike. As an additional cost to play this, put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Choose one, draw a card, it gains +2 or gains go again. We'll send this Bounding Demagon to the bottom of the deck. Give the E-Strike +2, coming in for strength 7. So that was a pretty good hand. That was a pretty good turn. So I had 2 physical, 1 arcane, 4 physical, 7 physical. So that's like 14 damage, and I'm building up my counters there. So that's pretty solid. Then we'll move to another turn and banish those 2 cards once again. So this time we have a Vexing Malice and a Shadow. And now, we're going to be able to carry this Duskblade even further. Let's say that this time we are going to use the old Art of War. So Art of War, choose 2. First option, attack action cards you control gain +1 attack and +1 defense this turn. Second option, the next attack action card you play this turn gains go again. Third option, until end of turn you may defend with attack action cards from Arsenal. Fourth option, you may banish an attack action card from your hand. If you do, draw 2. I'm going to choose the first, let's say that I'm going to choose the +1 and the banish to draw 2. So I will, in this case, I think I'll pitch the Seeds. I'll banish this Riftbind. This is another card that I can play from the Banished Zone, so this is basically setting myself up for success. as the banish that would normally be an additional cost is in this case going to be more or less to my advantage, since I'll likely play this from the banish zone this turn. And I am building up card advantage with these draws. Okay, so then now I'm going to go ahead, and my stuff has +1. I will play this. Shadow, banishing another red Riftbind. So then this is going to be coming in for 3 with Go Again. Then I'm going to go ahead and do Shadow Puppetry. Next attack action card you play this turn gains +1 attack, Go Again, and if this attack hits, look at the top card of your deck, you may banish it. It itself has Go Again. Then I am going to go ahead and use Chane's ability for the Soul Shackle here, and I will pitch to swing Duskblade. So I have the Go Again from Chane's ability. I have played an attack action and a non-attack action, so this is getting another +1 up to Strength 5. Then I'm going to play this Riftbind. This is going to be Strength 3 base. It gets +1 from Art of War, so that's Strength 4. Then it gets another +1 for the number of non-attack action cards that I've played this turn. In this case, just 1, the Shadow Puppetry, so now it's Strength 5. And then the Shadow Puppetry gives it a further +1, Go Again, and if this hits, look at the top card of my deck, I may banish it. So this is 6 with a relevant on hit, and it has Go Again. And then let's say, let's say that they block it and I don't get the banish. Well, that's okay. Next I'm going to play the other Riftbind for 5 damage. So once again, I'm throwing out a very large amount of damage. This is going to be Strength 6, Strength 5, Strength 5, Strength 3. So that's going to be 6 + 5 + 5 + 3. That's going to be 19 damage this turn. And I still have a card to throw in the arsenal. And, we're going to move on. Let's see what we can do with another hand here. So this time I'm going to draw up, banish my 3 cards. And so we have 2 copies of Seeds of Agony here. So the Seeds of Agony, I'm putting my relevant banished cards here, my not relevant banished cards there. That's kind of just a common gameplay convention. Yeah, so let's see what we can do here. So we have a, I think the Arsenal card is a Ghostly Visit, but I might be misremembering. Nope, I'm right, Ghostly Visit. So let's do, yeah, let's say that we're going to play out a copy of Seeds. And we'll do the blue Seeds here first, actually. And then I'm going to show you guys another little fun trick. This is with another new card. So right now, Chane decks are playing a card called Snapdragon Scalers. You can destroy this to give target attack action card with cost 1 or less Go Again. I think that people are going to be moving off this. Once again, we're going to throw it to the side. I think they're going to be playing the new Spellbound Creepers. Once per turn instant, 1 energy, put a bind counter on Spellbound Creepers. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Activate this ability only if you have attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. At the beginning of your end phase, destroy Spellbound Creepers unless you have dealt arcane damage this turn equal to or greater than the number of bind counters on Spellbound Creepers. It can also block for 1 with Blade Break. So this is weird. It doesn't seem like it would be that good, but because you can play your next non-attack action card as though it were an instant, this actually allows you to get Go-Agains in some situations that you might not expect. Let's demonstrate. So I've played the Seeds for the potential 1 arcane, and let's say that I'm then going to do a Enlightened Strike, and let's say that I'm going to go for the E-Strike 7. I'm just trying to push some raw damage through against the opponent here, just trying to do a lot of damage. So coming in for Strength 7 plus 1 arcane. Haven't pitched anything yet, and so this is going to be coming in, and I don't have a way to get another action point at this time, but my opponent is, let's say they take the arcane damage. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they block the arcane damage. But if they take the arcane damage, or even if they don't, I can then be like, okay, now I'm going to use the Spellbound Creepers. Once per turn instant, as an energy, 1 energy, put that bind counter on there. This will be my bind counter. You may play your next non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Activate this ability only if you've attacked or defended with an attack action card this turn. So I am going to pitch to do that. 2 energy floating. Then I'm going to play, so after this attack goes off, I'm going to play this Seeds of Agony from the Banish Zone as an instant. Because it has Go Again, I get an action point. So if you play, playing an instant that has Go Again can generate you another action point. So even though I didn't have an action point left after playing that E-Strike, the Spellbound Creepers and Seeds combine to give me another action point, and then I'm going to keep up the aggression. I'm going to use Chane's ability. There's a Soul Shackle. There's another Duskblade swing. I've played a non-attack action and an attack action, gets +1. That Duskblade swing is coming in for strength 6. It has Go Again. Then I'll throw out the Ghostly Visit from Arsenal for another 4, and Arsenal this Plunder Run. Once again, giant turn. So this is 1 Arcane, 2 Arcane. This is going to be 7 physical. This is going to be 6 physical. This is going to be 4 physical. So that's 17 physical, 2 Arcane damage. And additionally, the Spellbound Creepers, if my opponent let any of that arcane damage in, this doesn't get destroyed. So this is going to stay here. Now I can use it next turn. I don't know if it's going to line up that I can use it next turn. It's possible that I don't have the non-attack action that I need to do that little trick and get me an action point again. But it's very possible that I do. And additionally, if it looks like I don't, I then still have it around to block with Blade Break, and that's going to be another point of life. So I feel that's going to be a pretty strong card. And then, we see the next turn. Oh, looks like I do have some non-attack actions that I can potentially use with Spellbound Creepers again if I have to. I'm going to also be banishing 4 more cards, and I'm going to be probably playing a non-attack action and an attack action, and that means the Duskblade is going to be all the way up to strength 7, and it just keeps going. This is going to be, in my opinion, 2 really strong cards. The Spellbound Creepers is a little more technical, a little more situational. I could envision people playing the Snapdragon Scalers instead. I don't think it was going to be like, oh, he's playing Snapdragons, that's ridiculous. But I do think the Spellbound Creepers are better. Duskblade, though, this is so powerful. The weapon scaling this aggressively and scaling based on things that you already want to be doing is, in my opinion, going to be very, very strong for Chane, and is going to be a big problem for people that are facing off against Chane. Chane is already winning these races. Chane is already probably the most successful aggro deck in the format. And not only does this mean that you're going to scale in these races and start doing more and more damage, but it also means that if someone is trying to just block you out and take a defensive stance and letting you do these big attacks, you're getting more powerful and you're getting harder for them to stop. So these fatigue strategies, which are already suffering against Chane, this could be like the next step that makes it even harder for them. Now, I do want to say it's not necessarily the case that this is unbeatable. So this does have that downside. At the beginning of your end phase, if you haven't played an attack action card and a non-attack action card this turn, remove all +1 counters from it. So if someone, let's say you're playing against Bravo and you've been building up your counters, but they decide they're going to take a bunch of damage one turn, they come in with a Spinal Crush, manage to get that crush effect off, and you can only do 1 action next turn. You're not able to play an attack and a non-attack, and you end up losing your counters. Now, interestingly, though, that's a situation where the Spellbound Creepers, I believe, can save you, because you could play an attack and then use the Spellbound Creepers to play a non-attack action as though it were an instant. And because you're playing that extra card as an instant, you're going to be... Now, you don't get the Go Again because of the Spinal Crush, maybe, but because you have then played an attack and a non-attack, even if one was played as an instant, that means that you might not be adding to the Duskblade, but you're not going to be losing your counters either. So there's situations where this card can maybe cover one of the downsides of this, which is vulnerability to things that block your Go Again. I don't know. It looks to me like this is going to be really, really strong. It does have some counters. If you can make Chane start defending, those counters are maybe going to fall off. If you can make them spend their whole hand on the defense, that might be an opportunity to kind of reset them. But I honestly think this is going to be an extremely strong card for the Chane deck. I actually think it's going to be stronger for Chane than it is for Briar, because Chane's banishes and cards that he can play from Blood Debt make him more reliable at seeing both the non-attack and attack action this turn. We'll have to see, but at least based on what I'm seeing here, I do think that this is going to be a big upgrade for Chane. Now, I'll also say, the big tournament in Las Vegas is this weekend. The Call in Las Vegas. I'm not attending it. I'm a little worried about COVID stuff. If you are attending it, I strongly recommend that you wear a high-quality mask, get an N95 or a P100 or something. Don't just wear a non-fitting cloth mask. But, maybe this weekend we're going to see somebody coming up with some crazy build that counters Chane. I think it's possible. There's been some discussion of, can Dorinthia race Chane? Is there a Levia deck that can race Chane? Maybe someone's figured out one of those things, and they're going to be really setting Chane on the back foot in the calling. But assuming that the calling goes the way the Road to Nationals have been going, Chane is on top of the meta, and some of these new cards seem like they might be able to take him to the next level. So we'll see if the new heroes have what it takes to slow him down and compete. But this Duskblade and these Spellbound creepers seem like they could have a big impact on the meta. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this one. Thanks to y'all for watching. If you're interested in seeing more of what I've been talking about with respect to the meta, I'm going to have a link to the spreadsheet I've been maintaining with the Road to Nationals event results and some other data for the Flesh and Blood trading card game competitive kind of side of things. I also have some articles up at towernumber9.com, my blog, with respect to other stuff going on in the game, so check those things out. There will be some more streams on Twitch also, twitch.tv/towernumber9. I'm going to be hopefully showing some more testing games with some of the new content. Maybe I'll be streaming some games soon where I'm putting this Duskblade into practice for real instead of just showing you what it looks like when I'm playing solitaire here. But yeah, should be some interesting stuff, so stay tuned for some more content. Thanks to y'all for watching, and I will catch you guys later.